Good morning and welcome to Life and Style Relationship Wednesday. You know, we start the week with wellness, health and wellness Monday, and then the artistic Tuesday. Then we've got Relationship Wednesday. Thursdays are Inspiration Thursdays and Feel Good Friday. Usually on Saturdays, then we get a repeat of some of the artistic Tuesday, and on Sunday also the best of the week. So each and every day of the week, you have Life and Style on your TV screen, so you can't miss. And then we've got the links that keep on coming after the shows that we have had. Today, we're going to have a very interesting topic. We're talking about settling down right here on Monday. I am Pastor Chris Atemo, your host. I've got two gentlemen who are ready to talk with us. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms at KTN Life_style. That is for both Instagram and Twitter, and then KTN Life and Style Facebook. 22840 is our text message number to converse with us, to keep the conversation going on the social media platforms. You need to do the hashtag KTN Life and Style. So we're talking about settling down, and we are on Monday talking to the men. Later on, getting on to retake. But I want to bring the two gentlemen to you to introduce themselves, then we get right into it. Starting from my father's left. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm James Orwa. I'm a PR and marketing manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
My name is Steve Turunga.
All right.
I'm pastoring in Machakos Deliverance Church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to have you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, so what do you think about settling down? Is it necessary? Is it right for people to come together before their wedding, moving with one another?
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Right.
And I must say that it's a very interesting topic to deal with in our generation today. And according to me and my own opinion would be that it's not right.
It's not right?
It's not right to settle down together before marriage.
All right.
Yeah.
The reason being?
The reason being is that when you're dating and already you're living together, it's like you're having a preterm baby.
Okay.
It takes the thrill away from the so intended marriage.
Okay.
So it's like you're already married and you're waiting to be married.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. James, what are your thoughts?
Wow. I think I tend to not be in line with Pastor Steve.
All right.
I think to me, like, marriage is all in the mind. To me, it is all about commitment.
Okay.
It's not even love. So if you guys can agree, like you are ready to commit yourself and to have like what I call self-discipline and self-control, because if we base it on love or anything else, then marriage loses its meaning. Because I want to say, like, today you can love anybody, but you can't commit to everybody. You will just commit to one person. So if I am committed today with a particular partner, then to me, you just live together.
Well, so what if, because he's talking about, it's a period of dating or courtship or whatever it is. So how do you measure that commitment? How do you know? Because I think that the wedding is usually a sense of weighing that commitment that has been made. So how do you measure that commitment?
Now, let me ask, how many people do wed and they end up not marrying each other? They divorce or maybe separate.
So what happens in the cases
So to me,
yeah.
what I say is commitment. Like, you discipline yourself and say, this is the thing that I want to go for. This is the person that I want to love for the rest of my life. Others, like wedding and all these, like we do dowry and everything, those are just things to do as a matter of formality.
Okay. I don't know whether they are formality. Are they a formality?
To me,
Now, I think when if I'm getting it right from James,
yeah.
it's like he's doing away with the idea of dating altogether. It's like he's saying instead of dating, we just commit from the word go. And I think also when we look at it from that perspective, there's a danger to that also.
All right.
Because there's the mind that comes to dating. There's the reason why we date.
Okay.
And dating is all right. And because in the period of dating is the period when you get to know someone, is the period you get acquainted with someone. So if if I were to go with what he's saying, it's like he's ruling out the idea and the need for dating.
Okay.
So, and according to me, I would say, because personally, I did it for 4 years.
All
I
right.
did it for 4 years. And I can comfortably say that the dating period really shaped the commitment period.
All right.
Yeah, so whatever we do, okay, being Africans, we are squeezed in between our tradition and now the modernity we have today. So we have the dowries, like he said, as much as they are formalities, I think they're necessary formalities.
Are they really formalities? Don't you think, James, that they do put a certain level of seriousness to this thing that is called commitment? Because I asked you, how do you then measure the commitment? Would you work, you're a PR and marketing manager, would you work somewhere where there's no contract?
No.
Would you trust that they are committed to you?
Not really.
Okay.
But then what I was trying to say is like, now we have some, like I know of a parent who decided to let his daughter go. And he told the husband to the daughter that I don't really need anything. If you guys can take good care of my daughter, then that is good to go. You get this? So that's why I call it formality, because again, how many people take dowry and then at the end of the day you find like that marriage isn't working?
But does that now mean that dowry is not right? Does it mean that weddings are not right just because some people failed?
Not really. I didn't say they're not right.
Yeah.
I didn't say they're not right. I just say they're formalities. But they are good to do, to show like some level of commitment. But again, they're not the reason why people get into marriage. Then they cannot tie you into a marriage.
I'm still going to stick on you, and it's going to be hot for you. People go to school,
That's right.
and the majority does not score the grades that they desired
That's right.
to get.
Yeah.
Does that nullify the importance of the institution of the school?
Not really.
Okay.
The school played its role. by
So it's
giving
not a
you
formality.
It's not a formality.
It's not a formality.
No.
Don't you think in the same manner that the people that you would say wedded and divorced, that initially they did not intend to divorce, right?
That's
Something
true,
has
but
happened.
then let me ask you, like,
Yeah.
let's talk about, you've given a very good case study of high school.
Right.
Now, if I go to school and end up not sitting for the KCSE exams, which means I won't get a certificate to certify that I completed my O levels, right? Now, will that give it a meaning? No. People will say I did go to school. Whatever, all the reasons I may give or pertaining that, like I went to school, when I reached the form for my third term, one, two, three things came up, and then I decided to. So, to me, that's a different case. On the marriage part of it, I give it a different look.
Okay.
To me, marriage is all in the mind. It's something that you make a decision. Whether I give you a goat or a cow, if I don't have it in the mind, I won't make it. That's why you realize, like before in African context, you realize, I think that there is a tribe, what they were doing is like, people, you find like a lady still young that already have been attached to someone to marry you.
Right.
But then the lady is not ready for that. You get this? That means it is not marriage. Even if you bring those goats, even if you put a wedding there, she won't commit, because that is not her choice.
But Steve, now,
Yes.
what happens if we go by what James is saying? What happens in a case where I've moved in with somebody and then it's not working? Then I'm thinking, in any case, we are not married. So the next thing I want to do is my next relationship, I want this person, the next person, to come and live with me again. Then that doesn't work. Then I leave that one. The third person is coming in. The only way I know how to date is to live with people. Don't you think that that's a possibility?
It's a possibility for sure, because we can simulate commitment.
Yeah.
There is no 50% commitment. Commitment has to be 100%. And I think the analogy that most of the time is pushed through is the issue of when you want to buy a car. You have to test run the car. But I think it becomes easier to use that analogy when you're the driver, not the car. And in this case, if you look at it when you are the car, you're being used as a commodity.
All right.
So I think if we were to go by what James is saying, then we would be saying that we are opening room and doors for people to look at each other as commodities. Like you're saying, if you're not committed to the first one, there is no guarantee you'll be committed to the second one, not even to the fifth one. So for me, I would say we can simulate commitment. You either have it or you don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in the case that we go by your thought, James, so here are two people who want to, they've come together in a relationship, whatever form. So they're thinking, okay, we need to settle down. Whose house do we move into?
I think in
Ideal situation,
Ideal
whichever case, whether it is through marriage or, whose house are you supposed to move into?
I think now here we look at who is hosting who. Okay.
What do you mean by that?
I mean by this, I said we are in between, because when you look at our African context, and also the religious context, it's the man who goes out and gets the lady and brings her in to be the wife. So according to, when I look at it from that dimension, I would say, I being the man, we move into my house.
Okay.
But maybe in extreme conditions or situations, we go to a totally unoccupied house. It's not yours, it's not mine. We go to a brand new house.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your thought about that? Is it ideal for a man to move into the house that the lady had before?
I'll say from African context, you are not allowed as a man to join a lady.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, you can join a man, but then again, that also has.
But is that practical today? I mean, how much African are we?
You know what happens? You know what happens? Why it's not practical today is because the decision that people make. Most of us are indecisive. So someone is like, if I move into this guy's house, what is going to happen next? You are not sure of what you're doing. But when you know and you've made a decision that this is what I should do, then with all other factors held constant, then you should move into a man's house.
But is it ideal for a man to move into the lady's house?
No, it's not.
Not at all?
No.
So at what point are we modern? At what point are we African? Because he brought the African perspective there.
It's so hard to go so far away from our roots.
Okay.
And we were brought, even when we were so young, like for some of us where we come from, you clear class 8 in the system we have today, and you're pushed into your own karoom, whether it's a carton house, whether it's a thatched house, but you have to move away from your parents. Right. In other words, they're like showing you, they're telling you that you as the man, you're the one who initiates being in the house, then the lady comes. So we started that from way young. I've seen it nowadays, we see it in the movies, and someone moves into a lady's house, then it doesn't work, then the man is shown the door, and the only thing he leaves with is his jacket. So I think with that in mind, I would rather be traditional African.
All right.
Yeah.
What if the man, because sometimes people come together and the man is a bit disadvantaged at that particular point, financially, economically, things may not be working, but the lady is still willing to settle down with this man, and the lady is earning, or she's in a company house, she's facilitated, she has a better place to live at. Don't you think that for a season it would be acceptable for the man to move in?
Now, okay, when you put it that way, I think also we also have to bring in the issue of the maturity of the lady.
All right.
We have to bring in the issue of the maturity of the lady, and how respectful and submissive she is. Because I've seen both. I've seen where a man moves into a lady's house because she's doing well financially. She can support, she can take care of the bills, and then it doesn't work. Because along the way, when the kids come, is where you hear some statements like, how many kids do I have in this house? Even the man included in that statement. Okay. But I've also seen scenarios where the man is not doing well for now, but then the lady understands and gives the man room to grow and also to measure up to maybe to her level or even better. So I think the issue of the maturity of the lady also comes into play.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the man's friends, James?
I think what happens here is also like, if I find her, she has a house, I don't work and she is working, the best we can do is to move from that house to a different one.
Okay, so we just create a new space completely.
Yeah.
But what if she's still the one who's paying? Fine,
yeah, she will be paying. That's okay. That's okay, but not in the same place.
It may also fail to work, because that would mean you're the one who is disadvantaged, and yet you're issuing directives from the word go. You found out without money. In actual fact, it's like she's helping you for now.
No, you know what's happening here? There was
So who are we dealing with by this movement? When the two of you know it's the lady who is paying.
No,
So who are we dealing with here? Is it the outsiders? Is it the perception of the people? Is it society that you're trying to manage? Or is it the two of you? Because the two of you would know is the lady paying.
You know, the thing is, like, one, we have to understand that there is the underlying truth, and that is love. There is love between the two. So when there is love between the two, someone will not feel like it's becoming bossy over me. You get this? It will be where you sit down and you express your take, and she will give you also her reasons. But basically, I will be very safe and very comfortable by asking, like, let's move to a different place. Same rate, almost everything, but a different house.
Okay, but you've not answered my question. Who are we managing with that movement? Because is it you? Is it just your own insecurities as a man, your ego as a man? Who are we managing? Because if we move from house A, James, and we're going to house B, the first one was being paid by her. We're moving into house B, and she's still the one who's paying. So what exactly are we trying to solve by that
We are
movement?
sorting out issues to do with security.
I tend to differ.
Would that really work?
I tend to differ because we go back to the same thing we said of who we are, and how I would say by default how it is. What James is managing is not the insecurity. It's the society.
It's a society, right?
It's a society.
Yeah.
Because his friends will not be very much comfortable coming to a place where they know it's not because they know his previous house.
Yeah.
And also even the change in social status. Maybe he's moved from a 10K per month to a 50K per month. They know he can't afford that.
All right.
So now what he's doing is to manage the society. There may be a miracle happen and now he's able to afford a new house.
And it's something that we've dealt with several times, and I'm going to ask you also, because we're specifically talking about the settling down. If you could only afford 10, then now you are with somebody who can afford 50 for a house. Would you go for the 50, or would you still want to have a place where you pay the 10?
I'll go first. I stay in my 10K house because I'm the one who's hosting. At least when it's in my house, at least I have authority in my house. I have that dominance in my house. But if I move into the 50K per month, the lady's house, I'm hosted.
So is it a matter of are we coming back to the male ego thing?
Yes, exactly. You get it. Now you are even addressing it now in a better way. But then, to me, I'll give it a economical kind of look. I want to go to a house whereby we pay 50,000 while we can still be comfortable in a house for 10K.
Okay.
We can use the rest of the money for development purposes. There's
All
so
right.
many things to do. Actually, that gives even a reason to buy a piece of land somewhere, because if you look at 40,000 annually, that's like about 480,000. That's enough to do something yearly.
Okay.
So I'll not go for a bigger house for the sake of it. I will say, like, let's settle here until we have a reason to move.
All right.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the thing, like, when you move in together, and especially in the case where you have not had a wedding, so really it's like two independent people are living in the same house. How do you deal with the issue of independence and space? Because at the back of your mind, because James, I've seen even people who have children, they've sired children, they've been together like even 8, 9, 10 years. They still feel like they don't really belong, especially for the ladies. They still feel like they don't really belong because there has not been what you call formality, which is still a good word because it formalizes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nothing has been formalized.
Yeah.
And so they usually feel like there is no support to whatever they are in. So two people are living together. And the lady obviously will still be feeling like, look, I still don't belong in here. I don't know when he will change his mind or when things will go off. How do you deal with the element of the independence and the space of the two individuals?
I think what I look at here is like, one, the issue of commitment, as I said, is not anything but the mind. Now, it's also important to gauge, to know whether this is the right person that I can live with for the rest of my life.
How do you
Now,
get to know that?
You can see the commitment. You can see the body language. You can see everything. I'm telling you.
How do you pick up the commitment?
You
Because
see,
I want you to help us
You see,
to
you see
understand.
exactly. Now, give it a look this way. You find a situation whereby someone does not even think of a partner. You are a guy, but you don't even think of your wife. You don't even think like you're married. You still have your life with boys around. To me, even if you take cattles or you do wedding, that shows you are not committed to that, because you are not having time for your partner. The free time should be with your partner. You get this? Now, if you realize, like today, my wife leaves for work, but hardly comes to the house. The only time she can come to the house is maybe midnight, telling you like she was still hanging out with her girls. That to me makes me feel like that is not commitment, because marriage has got a different definition. It's a commitment whereby you commit everything that you have.
So what if you discover that when you're living together, you decided to live together? Because some things are not easy to find out when you live in different places. Sometimes if somebody told you, I'm on my way home, you're not with them, you'll not know whether they're on their way home or not. And then you start living together with them. Then you start seeing these tendencies, like they're coming home late, but you're not yet married. There is absolutely no commitment in terms of formalization. What do you do in such a case?
You see, what happens is, like, in any way, even if it is through AG, through church, even traditionally, one thing is, like, that is one's character. That is one's character. It can hardly change. And that's why what I wanted to contribute previously. I wanted to say, like, sometimes some people get into a relationship to discover.
Okay.
You get this? You want to discover. You want to discover and know who you really want in life, to be with in life forever. So to me, my understanding of marriage is making that final decision. It's not a moment or a process of discovery again. It's a moment of knowing what you really need in life. Then you go for it. So in that regard, then I feel like there should be no much space. The thing is, like, be free with each other as much as you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no much space, operate like you are completely...
Yes. Because the moment you start, I want to tell you, like, the moment you start observing the space,
Yes.
That's when you realize, like, you are raising some eyebrows. Someone will start thinking otherwise. Like, why is he or she behaving this way?
But
Does
don't
it
you
mean,
think
like,
that, don't you think that then the benefit of having gone through a certain process and a document is that at the back of somebody's mind, like, for example, even if I wanted to play games right now, whoever I will talk to, at the back of their mind, they know that man is married.
Yeah.
So it also makes the other people treat me in a certain way.
Yeah.
As much as they would want to, but at the back of their mind, there is something that is also making them afraid of coming in, because they feel like, I don't want to get into the space of a married man. Yet, if they think that there is still an opening, even though you may be living with a Susie or a Lucy, they'll still feel like they can find their way in there. And so that might just open the door to predators, don't you think so?
No, I think you're so right, because in the scenario where we don't, like, take our relationship through the process, what we are calling formalities, it opens a very wide door. That it's like, I'm trying you out and you're trying me out. So in the process of it, there is no commitment. We are not settling down as yet as married people. It's like we are trying to work it out. So in the process of trying to work it out, if someone else comes in and is better than you, and definitely in this world there's always someone better than any one of us.
All right.
So it opens a door for us, for us not even coming to the level of sealing the relationship by commitment. So for me, I would say the commitment, really, I can measure the commitment if you're able to go through this period with me, the process with me. Then we come to the level where we agree, our parents are there legally, and we have a wedding. Then we settle in together, and everybody knows that we've settled in together. So I think that gives, that eliminates the room that I can try out someone else, or I can allow in someone else into my life. I think that's the only way to shut it out and to show and seal the commitment.
All right, so let me take your wrapping thoughts, James. What are your final thoughts about settling down?
My final thoughts about settling down is, like, it's a commitment.
Okay.
first
stick
know
to that
what you-
word.
Yeah, know what you need.
All
And
right.
Don't
Okay.
give it a mock kind of a test.
All right.
Just do the exact thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Steve.
My final thoughts, I would zero in on the independence and space.
Okay.
I would really want to say that when I marry you, I've married you,
All right.
not the community.
Okay.
So I would still want to maintain part of my independence, my hobbies, my talents and everything, and also allow my wife also to have her independence and also her space.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, there you have it from the men. We will be taking a short break and coming back with retake, having the ladies also. Remember, keep the conversation going on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. The hashtag is KTN Life and Style. We're talking today about settling down. What are your thoughts? Do you agree or do you not agree with the men who've been on mandate right now? Follow us on the social media platforms at KTN Life_Style for both Instagram and Twitter, and KTN Life and Style Facebook. 22840 is the text message number. You want to be part of the panel over here? You feel like you have something to come and say when we have mandate or the retake? Send us mail on lifeandstyle@sanamedia.co.ke. We'll take a short break. Come back with retake. Don't go anywhere.
If I'm in your house, you will tell me off. You found me here. You know? Don't change that seat. Don't change that table.
Get your definition for marriage and go for it. And when you get the definition for marriage, it means you know the kind of a partner that you want to put up with.